Welcome to the channel. I did a previous video on this Cat 215B. This is my neighbor the repo guy's track hoe, and this thing needs some work. Got a nice bucket on there, all laced up with some anti-wear welding. And this is the issue, well, at least one of them. The exhaust has completely left the chat. You can see there coming off the hot side of the turbo, that pipe is gone. The connecting pipe to the muffler is gone. The stack is gone off of the muffler. And this muffler itself needs replaced. All the baffles are, failed inside. But this guy's not really looking to spend much money on this thing. So I actually knocked all the baffles out of the muffler, and we're going to try and patch that up. Now, this is the piece that attaches to the hot side of the turbo. This is a pretty expensive part. I'll show you the price off of Cat's site. It does not look like you can get it aftermarket. This is, some type of cast steel, cast metal. We're going to try and repair this, not back to the way it was before, but to be able to use that piece. So that's the part from Cat's catalog, and it is $604.54 just for that piece. Then you need the connector pipe and the muffler and the stack. We could reuse the clamps. So I'm just getting some 4-inch tubing off of Amazon. I got these 2 shorter sections so you don't have to pay for oversized shipping for, a long tube. I'm going to put you guys on time lapse here. And, if you've ever, priced work from a welder or a fabricator type of person, and you were shocked by the pricing, there's a lot of labor that goes into fixing stuff and making stuff. So this video here, I'm going to show you basically the modification I'm going to do to this existing part in hopes of repairing it. And what I'm going to do with it is, you'll see by the end of this video, I'm going to, get this thing all cleaned up, prepped for weld. And what I'm going to try and do is take that 4-inch pipe and basically weld it to what's left of this thing, and then kind of use that brace that, was supporting the pipe also to help support the weld. Cast iron's not easy to weld, and at least if we could take some of the torquing and flexing off of the actual primary weld joint and put it on that bracket as a brace, that should hopefully help things out a lot. So, obviously I've already got you folks on time lapse because, it's just a lot of cutting and grinding and prepping here. And, there really wasn't much left of this thing anyhow. So I'm going to let you guys kind of just watch what's going on. And this is what we're doing and why we're doing it. So enjoy the rest of what we got here. Now, I'm not a super big safety guy. You'll notice I've got some gloves on. I've got this face shield and the dust mask. And I'll tell you what, if you know anything about these, 4-inch grinders, with even without a cutting wheel is kind of about as dangerous as it can get. The nice thing is when you do get nicked with one of those, it basically, sears your cut shut so you don't bleed, which is kind of convenient. And but if one of those things blows up, I mean, people get impaled all the time. So I do make sure that I wear the face shield. I'd rather, have the shield take the brunt of it. I don't really think safety glasses are enough. Like, I run a chainsaw with no safety glasses, but I don't play around with a 4-inch cutoff wheel on a grinder. And the dust mask, I'll tell you what, man, anytime I do this nasty rust work cleanup and I don't wear a dust mask even outside, I'll end up having a cough for a couple of days, and I almost forgot to put it on, but I remembered and put it on before I got too far into this repair, and it really makes a big difference because that stuff just seems to really get into your lungs. Now, I've got the most of this done, but there are some spots that I can't reach too well with the actual 4-inch grinder, so I've got this trusty old Craftsman die grinder. That cord is, let's just say, a little temperamental. You'll have this thing working fine, and then all of a sudden it disengages. I think there's just a poor design going on there, but you can see this is pretty cleaned up for the most part. But I got that spot that I've got to get to with this grinder. So we're in there, and then anytime that you're doing any type of welding, if you're just, kind of a beginner or thinking about doing welding, you don't want to remove a ton of material, but you do really want to get things as clean as possible. It helps out a lot in the process, and, welding similar metals of, type and thickness is really helpful too. This guy, like I said, is pretty frugal. He has a friend that owns a fencing company, and he was like, hey, I found some 4-inch tube, but it's a 1/4 inch thick. And I'm like, you talking about fence posts? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, well, that's not going to work. So we're just going to use some exhaust pipe. And that's not to rag on him. He does really well with buying, selling, and trading. And, every dollar counts when you're trying to make a profit. But for this situation, he told me basically if you can get this thing up and running, you can use it. So I'm more than happy to spend a couple of bucks on some, materials in my time of getting it going, because it's really going to benefit us both. And, that's kind of what people used to call the barter system. And the barter system seems to be dead, but it's something that we should consider bringing back. If you've got a skill set and you can help somebody else and help yourself, that's something that you might want to consider doing. So this thing's all cleaned up. It's ready to weld. I've got this pipe ordered. I'm waiting for it to come in. And we're supposed to get a bunch of rain this weekend, and that's when the pipe's coming in. So I might not be able to get on this till next week. But hey, this is the process. And we're showing you the process, the good, bad, and the ugly. And, hopefully we can get this guy welded up. You can see the brace there in my right hand. I want to get that 4-inch pipe welded to that too to help take some of the load off of that flange where it goes to the hot side of the turbo. And you can see that just what little bit is left of the tubing there, it's all cracked. I chose not to cut that off because it kind of reduces down there a bit. And I didn't really want to completely decrease any back pressure we've got. So if that choke point creates some back pressure that it was, originally engineered to have, that's good. Let's keep that. And then it's just a little more material to soak up and or dissipate heat in the welding process. And then also, while it's being ran, more metal is kind of better. So I decided to just leave that. So that's what I did. Well, that about wraps it up for this video here. It took a long time to get that cleaned up. I would say, after, doing the time lapse and the editing and setting up, I probably got 2 hours in cleaning this up. So back to what I was originally saying in the beginning, if you ever check with a welder or a fab shop on getting something fixed, my cat-like reflexes coming in clutch to avert disaster. But if you ever get a quote to get some work done and you're a little surprised, you may not be aware of what all is going on in the process and actually how much work it takes to do this stuff. So thanks for watching, guys. If you could subscribe, that'd be awesome. I'd really like to monetize this channel. And if I was able to do that, I'd like to be able to offer you guys better content, more content, better, camera angles and whatnot. But thanks for watching, and God bless.